So, hello everyone. Welcome to this session on building SabziMandi app part 2, which is day 3 of the Android Bootcamp that is currently being hosted by Codechef IEMK chapter in collaboration with GDSC, ACM, and CSI student chapters of IEM. And in today's session, we are going to build the SabziMandi app and, in fact, try to complete it. This entire session is divided into three parts. In the first part, we shall be adding a recycler view to our app. So recycler view is basically the list of items that is displayed in your apps, which you can also see in the screenshot. And the second part of this session is where we add support for Mvvm. So Mvvm is a very popular architecture pattern that is followed in Android, and you will find it in almost all the apps that are being built today. So this is the second part, and the third part we have a quiz for you, and there will be one quiz winner for this session, and that quiz winner will be getting a exciting prize from our sponsor hyphen.com. So Nilabro, over to you for the recycler review.
Yeah, thank you, Girish, for this opportunity. Yeah, so good evening, everyone.
Nilabro, I think your voice is cracking, so you can restart, I think.
Am I audible
Uh,
now?
yeah, you're audible now. Yeah, carry on. You can start from the beginning.
Okay. So, so today we are going to implement Recycler View in our app, and before that, we should know what is Recycler View. Okay, so what is Recycler View? It is a flexible view for providing a limited window into a large dataset. It allows us to create a large scrolling list of items with similar look and feel, layout or view, but with different data without actually repeating any view. We can see the image provided here. This is the image of the Gmail app. I guess many people will notice it. No. So we have many mails, but only few of them are shown on the size of the phone. We are using it right. And if we want to see more, we have to just swipe up and down to see other emails. Now we will see the conversation of two legends arguing on this. Let's see it. Okay. Uh, so the two legends are basically the captain and Mr. Stark, right? I guess many people will recognize them in a short glimpse. Okay, so let's see the conversation. By hearing the definition that I just mentioned now, Captain asks, "Is isn't there another component called Listview to achieve this similar task?" And Mr. Stark said, "Yes." Then why does even recycler view came into picture? List view is gone when you are sleeping under ice. Actually, this is a pro, right? Mr. Stark was actually poking to Captain. So definitely, this is not the real case of civil war. Let's see what Captain Mr. Stark has to say. Now Captain speaks on behalf of Listview. Captain, it displays a vertically scrollable collection of views where each view is positioned immediately below the previous view in the list. Here's a list view. You can see here's an example provided here. So Google Plus. This is a text view, and this is an image view, and each of the elements are put below put below of another item. Basically, we can say that the list of items are shown here. Now, Mr. Stark speaks. That's it, Captain. Yes, Stark. Lol. Actually, why Mr. Stark was laughing? Because the interface is not so good. If you see clearly, it's not very eye-catching. It's very much lame. Okay, so now Mr. Stark speaks about the recycler view. Okay, recycler view does all this stuff, but it has the following advantage over list view. It reuses cells while scrolling up and down. The cells scrolled out the views are reused. Okay, the views are when the when it is scrolled out, or you maybe scroll up or down, whatever it is, the cells are the views are reused. Next, it also decouples list from its container, so you can push list items easily at runtime in different containers like linear layout, grid layout with setting layout manager. Okay, layout manager, it plays a vital role in showing the items. Either it may be in linear format, it may be in grid format, or maybe staggered layout form. In a layout manager plays this role to show those items. Now, in recycler view, it also has a animation features. Like what? Uh, the elements can be animated also. How items can be swiped right or swiped down, or maybe swiped up, or elements can come from up. Anything you can do with this item animator. Now, but Captain did not get this. So Mr. Stark shown him some examples. You can see here clearly. This is the linear layout at first, and inside there it is another linear layout whose orientation is horizontal. Right, elements are horizontally scrolled right or down, right or left. Similarly, here also you can see that the elements can be scrolled right or left. So here's now. Oh, another thing. This layout, it is called the staggered layout. Okay, the elements are not in a uniform manner. This is short. This is long. This long image. So this is the height is a little bit bigger than this. Okay, so this is a staggered layout, and this is linear layout. Now, so who is the winner? Basically, the recycler view. Why? Because it has reusability property, and also the contents of the list we can easily it can be easily changed in runtime, and definitely it is better because it can be added animations, right? So now more points on recycler view. Make efficient use of the views for each item by recycling them as we scroll through the list. We may have a very long list with only a subset visible at any moment. This is the property of reusability we have already mentioned before. Now, it needs to make specific requests into our model of events to respond to scrolling, etc., happening in the UI. In whenever you scroll up or down, new items has to be displayed right, and it will contain new items values. So those items are requested after that; those are displayed. Now, it also needs to be able to request a UI layout for a specific item. It needs to display in recycled view how the item will look like. This is also mentioned beforehand. Okay, This facility is not provided in Listview. Another, it also requires the ability to adapt the interface provided by our model to the needs of the view. In RecyclerView, there is also a component called adapter, and it is responsible for binding our model data to the views. Okay, so now actually Mr. Stark has already mentioned the RecyclerView advantages over ListView, but we'll see graphically how that reusability works in RecyclerView. Before that, let's assume there are only 10 items just for simplicity. Actually, it can be in real life, it can be 100, maybe 400, maybe 300, whatever. And our phone screen has max limit of 4 items, which is visible. One, two, item 1, 2, 3, 4 in list view also and in just recycler view also. So first, when those will be created, the screen will definitely look like this. Okay. So in case of list view, at runtime, all items are created including their views, which can be a card view or maybe some other custom view. In this case, we are using card view. Okay, since card 1, card 2, and card 3, and card 4. Since my screen is limited in height, only 7 items, but there are more. Okay, actually, the phone screen only showing 4 items, but there are more than 4 items which are like linearly sorted like this. Okay, more items are there. Item 7, item 8, item 9, item 10. Okay, now whenever you swipe up, what happens? The item 1 will be uh, gone, and item 2 will be go up, item 3 will also go up, item 4 will also go up, and item 5 will also go up. Okay, so the phone screen will look like this: item 2, item 3, item 4, item 5. And another thing, card 2, card 3, card 4, and card 5. In case of list view, suppose there are 100 items, 100 items are there, so 100 card items will also be generated. Okay, here the number of cards are created same as the number of items present. Now, if we again swipe up, we'll say item 3, card 3 will come up, item 4 will come up, item 5 will come up, and item 6 will come. With, like this way, this works. If we scroll down, then again, item 2 will be coming here, item 3 will be coming here, item 4, item 1, it will show like this. But the number of, remember the point as I mentioned, the number of cards are created as same as the number of points. Suppose there are 100 cards, 100 number of items, then 100 cards will be there. Here, recycler view has an advantage. How? Let's see. In case of recycler view, the number of cards are created are less compared to list view. Very much less, not less, very much less. Actually, let's say let's say in this case, here only 5 cards are required to display the whole 10 items. Okay, how? Item 5 is present here. It is hypothetically. Okay, the phone screen will show only these 4 items. Now, if we swipe up, what happens? Item 2 will go up, item 3 will go up, item 4 will go up, and item 5 from here it will go also go up. Okay, now if we swipe up again, two things are happening. One, first card, the card 1 is already been used, but it is not in recycler view. That card can also be reused again. If we swipe down, then this item will come here, and if we swipe up, then this card 1 will also be coming here. Now, if we swipe up, you can see that item 6, but card 1. Okay, card 1. Only 5 cards are required to display this 10 items. Now, let's say if this is the original phone screen in real life and there are 100 items, still only 5 cards will be required to display the 100 items. At runtime, In list view, 100 cards are created, 100 views are created, 100 items are created. Here, only five cards are uh, created, 5 views are created, and 100 items will be created. What it does is just the items data will be changed. Okay, we'll think that okay, new item has been added, but no, actually that card one which we have uh, used before, that card has been reused. So this is the ba- uh, actually I said the reusability property, and this makes the real difference between the glazed view and the card view. Its performance will be better than the list view, and its no runtime compilation both that time will be also be less compared to list view. Now let's come to the layouts part. In recycler view, there are two layouts that to be mentioned. First, first layout, a layout manager. Sorry. Now let's talk about layouts we need to deal with. So first, provide a layout for the activity or fragment that needs to display the recycler view. We'll just place a inside that layout. It may be activity layout or maybe fragment layout, and inside that we will place a recycler view. Okay, so that is one layout. Another layout you have to keep in mind, that is layout for each of the items that needs to be displayed. Okay, so provides one or more layouts for the items to be displayed in the recycler view. One layout if all the items will be displayed have the same layout. If all the layouts that are shown in the, like for example, card view, if you use card view for all the items, then that's okay, only card view one layout will be there. But let's say for another thing, for another case, different types of layouts are used. Like for 5 items I am using one layout, and for second let's say for another 5 elements we are using another layout. So in that case, more than one type of item we have to make different layouts so that they will be displayed in different manner. Now let's talk about the recycler view components. Mainly in recycler view components, there are only three main we have to take care. First thing is layout manager, second is adapter, third is view holder. Okay, now let's dive deep into the components that we have mentioned. First, layout manager. A layout manager is responsible for measuring and positioning item views within a recycler view, as well as determining the policy for when to recycle item views that are no longer visible to the user. In recycler view, we have seen the reusability property. So this is taken care of by layout manager. By changing the layout manager, a recycler view can be used to implement a standard vertical scrolling list, a uniform grid, staggered grids, horizontally scrolling collection, and more. Several stock layout managers are provided for general use, like linear layout manager, staggered layout manager, let's see some of them. Okay, so in this is an example linear layout manager. Here, all the cards or whatever it is, these are displayed in linearly. Okay, and in vertical orientation. If we swipe up, again new item will be there, and all will be in linear order. In grid layout manager, you can see here is in one grid. Here is one item. Here is one item. Here is one, and all the items are in uniform. Right? You know what is grid? So in one of the let's say this is one of the grid, and here one item will be there. Here one item will be there. Here one item. Here one item. Like this, if you scroll up, then again another two items will be displayed here. Now, another layout manager, that is staggered layout manager. It is similar to like grid layout manager, but the sizes are not uniform. Let's say this element, this is it has more size than this element. Yeah, you can see here. Next, this element is also not in the same height as this element. Okay, this cannot be shown here because this is a peak here. But if you see, if we use in near future staggered layout, you can clearly see the items will be like this. Okay, not in uniform fashion. Now, another layout is multi-type item layout. Here, more than one type of layout you can see here. How? This is a linear layout. Now, inside this linear layout, you can see here one linear layout is there, and this linear layout orientation is horizontal. If we swipe left, new items will be displayed, and if we swipe right, new items will be displayed here. Similarly, this one first linear layout is used. You can see these elements will be shown here, and next these elements these are shown as grid that staggered layout manager. Similarly, like this. Okay, this is multiple item layout is basically composed of that general layout managers like linear layout and staggered, like those two things. Now the main two classes. Now the two main classes for the recycler view, which are view holder and adapter. View holder and this implements recycler view dot view holder. This is view holder is basically in inside the recycler view library. Okay, so it keeps reference to the views being displayed for a specific item to be displayed in the recycler view, and it provides a place for you to get references to specific view, add event handlers, etc. Basically, view holder is an object, you can say, where you can say the layout, each of the items layout, like that card view. Inside that card view we have text view, or maybe image view, maybe uh, and many views are there. So those views are been taken care of by view holder. Okay, only the views part. Now another thing is that adapter. Now what adapter does is, first of all, it implements that recycler view adapter, and it also uses view holder. It declares the view holder as a generic type. It interacts with the view holder. If possible, it also creates it if needed. Or and the most important part is this point: it interacts with your model, gets items from it when they need to be displayed, and binds model objects to their views in the view holder. Now, view holder contains the text view, item, image view, and all. So those views, it will not beforehand it will not contain any values, right? Image will not be there, text view will not be there. So adapter now comes into play. What it does is, we are passing some model or item, what you can say. So item will have item object will have like image URL. So image URL, with the help of image URL, image will be displayed in the image view, and if the model contains some name or maybe text elements, so that those things will be binded in the text view. So that work is done by adapter, and view holder the view part. So now adapter, it also provides a constructor to receive and keep the model objects to be displayed in the recycler view. There are multiple methods you can override, but only three you must override, because only three are the main methods that needs to be override, and there are multiple methods. If you want to override them, you must have prior knowledge, else you won't be able to clearly show those items in the recycler view. Now, first method is on create view holder. What it does is it's create a new view holder and initializes some private fields to be used by recycler view. Basically, it's just create a new new view holder object, and yeah, that's it. And some private pages if, for the recycler view, so that recycler view can use them. And on bind view holder, it updates the view holder contents with the item at a given position, and also sets up private fields to be used by the recycler view. Here, the main thing comes, that is, in view holder, we will have that card view or that type of layout, and inside that will be item view, sorry, image view, text view, and those views will be binded uh, by the model by the items values like name, id, or whatever it is. Those will be just binded there, and those things are done in this method, okay, on bind view holder. And get item count, it returns the total number of items that to be displayed in the recycler view. Now, view holder, it provides a constructor that does the following: inflates the view from the item, inflates the view from the item, inflates the view for the item to be displayed, and passes it to a parent constructor. Sets the this part is basically the least item. I mean to say, the item, the layout which is done for showing the items, right? Like that card view, not the linear layout where you will be showing that cards, not that one. The card view, where card view, card layout, or whatever it is, where the text view, image view, those will be there. So here in this constructor, those layout is just inflated. Now, it also set itself as an on click listener if you want to be able to click items in the secular view. You know, if you want, let's say, suppose if you want to click on card and it will go to any other activity or whatever it is. Basically, if we want to make that card views as clickable, so that thing can also be done here in this constructor. It gets references to the UI items that will need to be manipulated to display data. Now, it also use the item view variable inherited from parent to interact the views. Okay, those text view and image view. Item view variable is used so that those can be interacted. Now, it also provide a method that can be called by adapters on bind view holder. This method, what it does is basically binding the values to the item view, image view, and all, like so those things are done on bind view holder. And if you want to make that card views and all, to be clickable, so you can implement a view on click listener interface, and inside on click method we just have to mention what will happen if we click on that card view. Okay, so this is the basic things that needs to be done, and now let's implement now what we have learned till now. Okay, so before implementing and adapter and whatever it is what I have learned now, some files need to be downloaded. Okay, so first you have to make on just a second raw file to make one raw file. Sorry, under resource directory, and inside that raw you have to paste one file. So this list.json, this file contains all the I mean to say all the values, like all the objects, you can say each of the object, like one object is this and its name is Alfonso Mango. These are some examples which will be displaying after completion of the recycler view implementation, after coding part. Now another file I want to one image file I want to download, that is placeholder, and this I'll keep it in drawable. Okay, this is a placeholder image. Why I've downloaded this? What is the use of this image? Okay, when this image will be shown when I will make that layout, that card view and all. Okay, you will see what this image will be displayed there. Now let's implement that. Implement first. Let's make the list item. I mean to say how the item will be seen. First of all, you have to change this to a card view. Width will be match parent. Height will be wrap content. Layout margin horizontal. That will be 8 dp. Android layout margin button, bottom, it will be 8 dp, and some card elevation, it will be 8 dp. Now inside this we will use constant layout. Width will be match parent. Height will be match parent. Let's add some padding. It will be 8 dp. Inside constant layout, we'll implement image view. Width will be, let's say, 80 dp. Height also 80 dp. And scale type, center crop, layout, constraint, start to start off, will be parent, then top to top of, this is parent. Let's say add some image which you have downloaded, placeholder, and another constraint, bottom to bottom of, it will be parent. You can see here the image is displayed here. Okay, now let's add some text views. Okay, inside image view we also have to mention the id. Let's give like image. It's a text view with will be wrap content. Height will be wrap content. Layout margin left it will be 8dp. Let's give one ID. Let's say it will be name. Now layout constraint start to end of image. Another constraint top to top of shit, constraint top to top of parent. Let's add some text here just to see what it's working or not. Mango and yeah, let's add style here. Text appearance should be title. Appearance compared dot title. Okay. Another text view with is wrap content. Height is also wrap content. ID will be, let's name it brand. Margin left 8dp. Layout constraint start to end of layout constraint top to bottom embedded brand. And let's add some text. Rupees dot 155. Okay, let's add some card corner radius that will be 8dp. Just a second.
I guess Nilabro is having some network issues. So till here, anybody has any doubt on the recycler view part? You can mention it in the chat box. Yeah, I guess Nilabro has some internet connectivity issues. Nilabro, are you there?
Yeah, I am. Am I
Yeah, yeah,
audible?
yeah, yeah. Continue, continue.
Okay. So actually, it's taking too much time. So what I think about, like, uh, the GitHub link, I think it already posted there. So I'm just copying those part, and I guess you are quite familiar with the things that I've already mentioned. The basics are already been covered, so you will be able to understand that those things. Okay, so this is the list item that I've created, and the this is the layout how the items will be shown. Okay, so list item is already done. Now inside activity main, we also have to mention, right, how here it, because it here it will be recycled view, it will be shown here the elements and all. So just copying those part. Okay, so here you can see the elements are displayed here. Okay, now when I will run the app, you can clearly see that this will be displayed. Now activity main part is also done. Let's make that item part, I mean the model part. Kotlin, this will be a data class, and let's name it item. So this is the data class item. Okay,
I
and if
think
I will name,
Nilabro, you can share your full screen, not a single tab, so that the audience can also see the GitHub tab. Got it? You there, Nilabro?
yeah, yeah, I'm there only.
Yeah. Continue, man.
Just a second. Let me Okay, so this is the GitHub link of the app that we are using now. So the item, just a second. Okay, so this is the part that this is the GitHub link that we're using, and now okay, the item file is already created. Now we have to make some changes. We have to add something in uh, manifest file. Okay, so where is the manifest file? Inside manifest file, one thing that you have to use, that is this this thing. What it does is, when you use the app, there are some images that I have attached there. So I mean the image URL has been provided. So inside the app will use the internet, and uh, actually this is the here it is giving the permission to use the internet, and image will be fetched there so that we can see the image view properly. Though, so the Android manifest file has been already done. Now inside build.gradle, we have to use some of these dependencies. Okay, this is glide. This is JSON. For the JSON file, what we mentioned is that is raw list.json, and another thing that is multi-disk. Also, we have to attach this also. Now let's sync it. Okay, so sync has already been done. Now let's create the item adapter file. So here is the code for that item adapter. So just need to copy it and we'll just paste there, and we'll see what next what we'll see. Okay, so this is the code that we have copied from there, and you can see here layout inflator holder and everything, item view holder, all of this has been used here. Now, so the item adapter is also done. Now inside main activity, we have to use those items. Okay, let's just copy that from the GitHub. I guess everything has been done. Now, only warning is there, no problem is there. So let's try to run the app. Just a second, Gradle build is running. Oh, another thing I have to mention that if you guys are not familiar with the Kotlin language, then you can see our previous session. The Kotlin basics has already been cleared there. If you want to, if you don't know Kotlin, you can check that video. Okay.
Okay, Nilabro, I guess the build would take a lot of time. So because Android Studio, is an expensive software. So
Yeah,
what we
yeah, I
can
have
do is
used.
that we can continue with the coding, and Srishti can take on from here.
Yeah, yeah, that can be
Yeah.
that can also be done.
Yeah, so Shrishti, please go on. You can share your screen.
Hello everyone. So today I will be talking about Mbvm architecture in Android. So let me share my screen. I hope it is visible.
Yeah, it is visible.
Okay, so let me switch to Android Studio. So basically, Mbvm architecture is a way to design an app. We use Mbvm architecture because it gives us a roadmap and it gives us best practices to follow when building an app. So let's start with the item class here. So in this app we are using this item class. So for this to we I have to mark this class as an entity, because whenever we mark any class as an entity, then there would be an SQLite class. An SQLite table will be created inside the database. So
I think Srishti, you can tell them about the room database that you have imported in build.gradle.
okay, so actually I haven't added the dependency. So first I would have to add the dependency here. That is, I'm copying from this repository. So first of all, I have to add this dependency for Mvvm components. Uh, okay, so I hope I've added all the dependency now. If I sync the app, should be fine.
Srishti, did you define a room version?
Oh no,
So you have to define room version.
yeah. So wait, do this again. Okay, so what is this error?
I think Srishti, you have to check your item.kt file.
Oh, okay, so no, but I have to add this ID
Yeah,
plugin
yeah,
here.
yeah. Or what you can do is you can just copy the entire build.gradle file.
Okay, okay. So it's building, I guess. I think it would take some time.
So I want to tell the audience that this repository
Yeah,
is
the
currently
build
being
has
fed.
been done.
Yeah, yeah. Continue.
Okay, so uh, so first I would need to create uh, the entity. So I want to tell about Mbvm architecture. So Mbvm architecture is divided into three layers. First is model layer, and then the view layer, and then view model layer. So basically in model layer we define all the data that we are using in our app, and the repository classes which we will use to insert, delete, and update the data. In view class is basically the UI or user interface, which through which the user interact with our app. And view model is basically a link between the model and the view, and it is the view model which provides the data for the UI because for this app we are populating this list item. So for this list item, so for this the view model will provide the data to the UI. So yeah, we have three layers, and now I will be code. First I will be code for model layer. In model layer we basically have classes, like we have the data class which we use in our app. Then we have data access object interface, which we basically in which we basically define all the SQL queries and associate them with the methods which we will use to insert, update, and delete data. So yeah, and then we need a database because we have to store this data into the database. So we have to create a database here, and in that database this item would be stored in our app. So this, and also the repository, we need a repository to access the data, because the database should be an abstract class. And we make the database as an abstract class, so that we cannot access this from the UI or any other class. So we need a repository class to access the database. So these four classes are coming to the model part. So first I will be, so here, because the Nilavro has already coded the item, has already created this item class. So I will mark this class as an entity, and here inside entity I will give a table name, item table. So basically this whenever we mark any entity as any item as an entity, then there would be an SQLite table created inside the database. And since this item will be stored as a form of row inside the database, so it should have a primary key, because the then only the database would identify each row uniquely. So here I am annotating this ID as a primary key. So false. So now we are done with the data class, and now let me create an item thou interface. So okay, so basically in item thou, as I said, in item thou class we specify all the SQL queries, and we write methods, and we associate those methods with the SQL query, so that when we call those methods, then that SQL query will be performed. And the like we write functions, insert function and update function and delete functions, and we associate these functions with SQL queries. So whenever we perform these methods, then these SQL queries will be performed, and that particular method will be called with the database. So let's so I am, first of all, I'm creating a function called insert here. And since we are inserting this item object, so as a parameter I am giving an item object, and I'm associating it, I'm annotating it with insert. So this so yeah, now let's create another method, and this method will insert a list of item. And okay, first I'm writing all the function here, then after that I will be explaining that which function do what. So date, and would also take an argument item, sorry, item, delete function, it would take item, and so all. So these are the function. This is function to insert a data, a particular data into the database, and this insert function is um, for more than one data, or I can say more than one item. This update will update when we call this update method, then it will update that particular item in the database, and when we call this delete method, then it will delete that item in the database. And this delete all method is for deleting all the data from database. So for this I would have to write a query. The query says delete from item table. Now I also need a function through which we will get all the data. So I'm writing get all items, and it would return a list of items. It would return all the items in the database, which are in the database. And for this I would have to write the query select star from item table. So here you can see this function is returning a list of item, and we are returning it in a live data holder class. So what is the live data holder class? So live data holder class is basically an observable class which is uh, used to update the UI. So whenever we will update and or insert anything in the database, so we will not have to I will not have to update the UI again and again. The live data will observe everything, and it will automatically update the UI. So for that we use live data. We are also adding a search view in our app. So to get all the searched item, we need to create get searched items, and it would take a search keyword as input, and this is a type string. So yeah, for this also I would need to write a query. The Sqlite query is select star sct select star from item table, and I need to write the condition here where lower of name. So where name is the name of the item. So the user will search. The user can search by the name or the synonym. So I'm in the condition I'm checking the search keyword with the name and with the key name and with the synonym. So lower name, like this is the syntax for in SQLite when to check any pattern. So yeah, so search keyword, and or also it we need to check this with a synonym, like search keyword, and we are returning this in the by or order by ID. So I so yeah. So these are the methods that we will need in this app when we want to insert or update or delete any method. And also, first of all I should, yeah, I would have to annotate it with DOA. So now we are done with DOA interface. Now we have to
I think,
make.
Srishti, you missed the return type of get search items.
Oh yeah, you're right. Okay, so now it's done. Now let's create a database class. Okay. So this app database should be an abstract class, because we don't want to access this app database from any class except the repository. So I'm making this as an abstract class. Okay, so now I'll have to annotate it with database data, database and this the database is basically a room database which we use which is basically used to perform all the operations which we used to perform through SQLite Open Helper. So what data room database does is it create the database, and whenever whenever the version of database changes, then it update the database. So basically it perform it take care of the database that in which we are saving all the data. So inside the database, I'll have to give the information about the class which we are saving in the database. So we are storing item class. So so yeah, and also the version of the database, since um, so the version now I have given the version as 1. So whenever we update anything in this data class, so we'd have to update the version in here, because after that only the room database will update all the things in the SQLite database. So yeah, so um, now I would need an DOA class, object of the DOA item DOA interface that we created here, because to perform all the SQL queries. So abstract fun get item DOA. So we will use this this function to get a DOA, get a instance of the item DOA interface, and we will perform all the SQL queries from that. So now we need to create a database. So for that, uh, I will creating the instance of the database inside this companion object. So, so what is companion object? Companion object is basically same as the static object in Java. So when we are declaring any variable inside this companion object, so there would be only one instance of that variable, and that will we that we can access through the class only. We cannot access that variable through any object. So why we are using this companion object? because we do not want to create multiple instance of our database. So that's why we are creating the instance of this database inside the companion object. So first of all, the, uh, create a variable called instance of type app database. And and also I forgot to extend this class by room database, so let me do that. So here I'm creating this instance variable, and initially this would be null. And to create a null variable, we need to mm, write this question mark here. So now we will create a function get instance that will return the instance of the database. And this get instance function will take the context of the app as an argument, and inside the get instance function we will return the instance as app database. But we have declared, we have initialized it with null. So first we should check if the instance is null or not. If instance is null, then we need to create a database. So for creating the database, we use room.database builder. So basically, okay, so we use room dot database builder function, and inside the database builder function I will be giving this context dot get application dot application, okay, application context. And then I will be writing the name of the database class. And also here I will be writing the name of this database that will. And so the room will create a database of name app database, and now we'll call dot build function with this. Then so now the room will create a database which name is app database, and in which we can store the entity item, in which we can store the entity item. So since in this app we are getting the data from this list.json file, so we need to um, we need to start so we need to insert all these values the inside the database as soon as we start the app. So I think Nilaburo has uh, created all the function for converting passing the JSON file. So yeah, so so here I am copy pasting these methods. And so this function would take an input context, okay, and that context will dot resources dot
I think Shishti, you have to change the parameter in load JSON string. The context is of data type app database. Line number 39.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Uh, Line number 32, I guess. Right?
39.
But
39.
in third.
It will be context.
Okay,
Yes, in 9. Yeah, it will be context. Yeah.
okay. Yeah. So now I will be adding a callback method which will which will initialize the database with these all uh, which these all values. So we'll be adding uh, uh, the I will be calling add callback method here, and in this add callback method, callback, and in this inside this I have to override the onCreate function, and inside the onCreate function I will be calling the load JSON data load JSON data function to get all the data. So okay, so what let me see what error I'm getting. Create function load JSON data. So what is the error here?
I think you have to you have to use the function load JSON data. You have used, okay. You have to pass in
I've
the,
used let me pass the context. So still it's not working. Okay, create function load JSON data. I have created it here. Then what is the error?
you can
Okay,
click on that, you can click on that create function. Just hover over that red text, that red
yeah,
text load JSON data.
yeah, yeah,
Yes.
yeah, yeah. It
Yeah.
says
Yeah.
create function load JSON
So
data,
create
but
it, create it. Click on it. I think
okay,
you can just copy from the code link we have.
okay. Database. So this is uh, wait, okay. So wait, I um there are some errors.
Shishti, you can copy the entire file.
Okay, oh,
Uh,
sorry, sorry
there's
for
a
that.
button to copy.
Oh shit, sorry. Mm,
Just below raw,
okay,
top right,
there.
just below, beside it, to the right of it, to the right of it.
This okay.
Yes.
So we import the now I guess we don't have any error. Okay, we give me just let me change the package name. V and B dot R. Okay, so this was the app database class, and now let's move to the repository class that we need. So I'm creating a class item repository here. So this repository class is used to call used to access the app database because this is an abstract class. So we use the repository class to access the instance of the app database, and we call all the functions, for example insert, update, and we get data from the get all function we call from this class. So this repository class will have a constructor which will take the application as a parameter. Application is basically the instance of the app. So in this item repository class, I will create uh, a item DOA class, and I will be and that I would be getting from the app database. So inside this, I would give to application, and then I will call get item DAO method which I created in app database, and and this is the variable of type list of item, and I will be getting these items from item DAO object. Now in item repository, we will need to create functions like insert functions and update function that and through that functions we will uh, call this function using this item DAO object, and we have to call this function as a separate thread because when we call all the functions at on the main thread, so all the method will line up in a queue, and this will affect the performance of the app. So let me create all the function that we will need to call on this item DAO object. So in Kotlin for um, creating for calling sorry, in Kotlin we use worker thread annotation to call a function on different thread, not the main thread. So insert an item, and I will be calling the insert function on this item DAO object, and like this I will create all the functions: update, item thou dot update. They will update the item in the database. Suspend function delete item thou dot delete del- delete all thou dot delete all. And okay, so one more method to insert, which would take an item list as a parameter. Thou dot insert item list. And for getting all the searched items, I'm creating the function. Okay, so for search function, I will not create that on different thread. Fun get searched items, and I'll need to pass the search keyword as a string here, and this would return a list of items, and inside this I will be returning thou dot get searched items search keyword. So let me copy this thread. So basically um, I'm adding this bucket thread annotation because I want to call this function on a different thread so that it would not affect the performance of this app. So our item repository class is ready. Now I have coded for the model part of Mbbm architecture. Now I will have to make a view model class which will interact with the model class, and it will get the data from model class and will update the view part of the app. So item view model dot kt. So I will inside this class I will create an object for of item repository so that we can get all the data and we can perform all the operations with the model part of the Mbvm architecture. So but before this I will be creating a constructor which will take the application, because we need to pass the application uh, to the repository object. So here we need the application here, and I will be extending this item view model through uh, item to Android view model, and inside, and also I'll have to pass this application in the super constructor. So now I will be creating an item repository object, and pass this application. And for all the items I will get all the items. I will uh, call this dot all item list, and this will return this all item list here. And to and for all the other operations, I need to create functions. So I'm creating a function insert to inserting the item in the database. So view model scope dot launch, and inside this I will call item repository dot insert. Function insert view model scope dot launch. Next, update method. Update method would also take an item as a parameter. Scope dot launch item repository dot update item list. Sorry, item. Now fun delete will delete this item from the database. Repository dot delete item fun delete all equal to view model scope dot launch repository dot delete all. So here I have created all the methods that we will need to call on this view through this view model. So okay, so and we need one more function to get the searched items. It searched items, and we need to pass a search keyword for that. The data type of this keyword is string, and this way the return type of this is live data list of items, and it will return list of item. So I've created the repository class, and through this view model class, and through this view model I will, and so to complete the recycle use this model is basically a link between model and the view part. We use a view model to get the data from the model part and update the data on the UI. So now I will be, so let me delete all of this. I'll have to create I'll have to create an variable for a view model. So item view model of type uh, view model, and I'm initializing it with null. null. I also have to create an object for this adapter item adapter class. So in the main activity, we'll be creating an object of this item adapter of type item adapter. Now now I will need to set up this adapter with our recycler view. So first of all, I need to create an adapter object. For this, I will use an item adapter class, and in this we will have to pass the this list item list, so list and the context of this main activity. Change to where, okay. So now I will need to set up this adapter with the recycler view. So recycler view dot adapter is equal to item adapter and then recycler. Okay, so uh, I should remove this, and now already the adapter has been set up with has already so all that is set up with the recycler. So now we function to initialize the view model. So one sorry
I think Srishti, your internet is a bit uh, disturbing you.
oh
You can carry on.
okay 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 view model providers, we use this syntax to create an a view model object. So here we need to pass the context of the activity, and then dot get need to pass the item view model class dot java. So here I initialize the item view model. So now I will have to call the method to get all the items from the database, so that we can populate the recycler view with these data. So yeah, so for that we'll call dot all item list. Okay, so we check all items, sorry. So all items dot observe, and inside this observe function will pass an observer, the an observer which will observe whenever we change the data in the database. list item, and inside this I need to call this, I need to override this function on change, and whenever the data into the inside the database changes, this item automatically update the item list with these values. So yeah, and now in the item adapter I need to, okay, so I think I need to write a function set data to the item adapter. So function set data, and it will take a list of, sorry, item list of item list of type list of item, and and it will change this m item list, m item list with these items. So dot set data, and we change the name of this. So okay, so we check what is the error here. So items, I need to check this all items is fine. So what is the error? Okay, so I think there is some error. Let me copy paste from here. Main active in the main activity. So I think there is some, like, I need to import something, or due to which I am getting this error. So here the main activity is also completed. I would see these errors. You can copy paste from the GitHub link, and this is what Mbvm architecture in Android. I hope if you have any question, you can try to ask in the chat box. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Srishti. So that was very well explained. So now we have the quiz, and there will be only one quiz winner. You need to go to this particular link that is there in the chat. And Srishti, you can stop sharing your screen. Yeah. So I will quickly share my screen and I will start the quiz. Just a second. I think my screen is visible. Just a second. I will just quickly start the quiz here. So So you can just join the session. We have 3 people here. Rest of the people, please start joining the session, and I will. Okay, so let's start the quiz. You have the first question on your screen, which is what library is widely used to render images from a URL? Is it JSON? Is it Room? Is it Glide? Or is it Imagify? JSON, Room, Glide, or Imagify? So you can click. You can use your mobile phone to answer this question. I will wait for 10 more seconds and then I will go to the next question. Yes. So which tag is used to change the name of the app from Android manifests.xml file? So you know that you can change the name of the app from Android manifests.xml file. So what is the tag that is used? Is it label? Is it name? Is it app name? Or is it none of the above? Label, name, app name, or none of the above? So I will wait for 10 more seconds and then. Okay, so let's go. Room is built on top of what? So your options are MongoDB, Postgres, MySQL, or SQLite. So I think Shishti has already mentioned it multiple times during the session. The answer. So the options are MongoDB, Postgres, MySQL, or SQLite. Moving on. So the question is, item DAO is an interface, true or false? Item DAO is an interface, true or false? App database is an interface, true or false? App database is an interface, true or false? So now we come to the end of the quiz. This will calculate the leaderboard. Okay, so I think we have a winner here, Earthman. So you can take a screenshot of this and you can email us. Our email, I will send it to you in the chat. So you can email us and I will just send you our email here. So you should email us here in order to claim your prize. So thank you guys. Thank you for joining. That was it for today's session. It was quite a long one, and I hope you all of you enjoyed. The next session is on Saturday at 5 o'clock, where we shall be integrating a voice assistant to this app. Thank you for joining.